Count Valbrandr.
Yes.
Robert says, I notice you don't brush off the scale as you're working. Not worry about it or doing it off camera.
I'm not doing it off camera. For the most part, you don't really worry about it too much because most of it flakes off. You can see it on the anvil here. Most of it flakes off as you're hammering. But something like that, it's not quite so important whenever you're making something for, utilitarian use, like a set of hinges or something like that. It's a little more important for when you're doing when you're making blades and stuff, because all this scale is impurities and is essentially a form of rust. When the steel is at the temperature that it is, the chemical reaction between the iron and the oxygen, which is, iron oxide, which is rust, that chemical reaction happens so much faster because of the extra heat. So if you want to really try to keep the steel that you're working on free of impurities and scale and stuff like that, then you can do that. But even then, it's really not that important because with a blade, you're going to grind all the scale off anyways. You're going to get down to bare steel. So when I finish this up, the last couple of heats, I'll take a brush to it to get the really flaky bits of scale off. But for the most part, I'm just going to leave these as a forged finish. So the grittier it looks, the grittier it is, the better it tends to look for that kind of authentic look to it. So as the steel gets thinner, like it is, there's less mass, there's less of a cross section. So the steel starts to move a little bit faster. So you'll start to see more and more progress being made the closer you get to completion. The flip side to that, it has less mass. So without having the mass there to retain heat, it tends to cool off a lot faster. And so, like a windy day like this, it tends to cool the steel off pretty fast. And a lot of smiths, including myself, will tend to preheat the anvil, because this anvil is a huge block of cold steel, and it'll suck the heat right out of your workpiece. So some blacksmiths actually use like an old clothes iron that they get from the thrift store or whatever, and they'll turn it on high and place it onto the anvil and let it sit there for 30 minutes or so while they're getting prepped to start the day, and they'll heat up the anvil and help you retain heat in your workpiece, which will allow you to work a little bit longer for each heat. Since since this is a windy day and I'm only working with really small pieces, there's no heat built up in this anvil. You see where there's just a red hot piece of metal right here, and it's a little bit warm, but it's not really hot at all. So this anvil is still really sucking the heat out of my work, out of the work pieces. So there's different things that you can do to mitigate that. Like I said, some people will just put a clothes iron on here and let it sit there for about 30 minutes or so. What I tend to do is that I have a big block of steel laying around here somewhere. I probably put it up, cleaning up for this class, but I'll actually put it in the forge while the forge is preheating. And then whenever it gets nice and red hot, I'll lay it on the anvil and I'll just let it sit there, let it cool all the way down. I'll throw it back in the forge, I'll do it again. I'll do that at least 3 times just to start to build up some heat in the anvil. That way I can hammer for longer. What are we looking on time? I know we slotted this class for an hour. What time is it?
We're at 2:37. That's an hour and a half. We can
Okay.
continue as long as you like, or if you want to wrap it up.
Oh, no. I definitely don't want to stop it. I'm actually getting fairly close to wrapping up anyways. So I just wanted to make sure what the time schedule was.
Could you, because we had some technical difficulties, can you repeat what you were saying regarding what you scribbled onto the anvil for the recording?
Absolutely. So while we were having technical difficulties, I did a little bit of scribbling here, and this is basically what I started out with, just a block of steel. And what I'm doing now is I'm drawing it out into a thinner cross section, and the real narrow tail that you see me working on, that's going to be bent around this into this general shape. And this will be the top part of the rowing bench. Like that. That's a bench, I swear. So this will be the top portion of the hinge for the rowing bench. Now for this other side here, that narrow portion that you see me working on one side, So it's going to come in like this, like that. Okay.